I have Superion. Well, I actually have all the pieces that make up Superion, which means that I have Silverbolt, Fireflight, Air Raid, Slingshot, and Skydive. Now, you might have been watching and wondering, is he ever going to review any of the Aerialbots? And the thing is, I decided to do with these the same thing I did with the Decepticons. I was going to wait till I got them all, and then I would unbox them and do one big review, and then merge them into their combined form. It was not easy to wait this long, but I did it. And before I go much further, I do want to say thanks to Toy Hacks for sponsoring this video, and they have some amazing stickers. In fact, check out over here. You can see where you can glow up your Age of the Prime Silverbolt, make him look even better, and I'm sure they have stickers for the other guys too, so the combined mode of Superion is gonna look awesome. Plus they have G1 stickers, they have an armory, they have backdrops. It's a great place for fans to just enhance their stuff. So go to toyhacks.com, check them out, and tell them Captain Kyle sent you, and they'll be like, yeah, that guy. But let's get into this. I've been waiting for a while. I can wait no longer. Oh, well, I should probably say, if you're new to the channel, I'm Captain Kyle, as I just mentioned. Been watching for a while. That's totally awesome of you. Thanks for coming back. And, well, gotta wait for a little bit more, because we'll be right back. All right, so I think we will put aside these wonderful limbs, as they're called, and we'll start out with Silverbolt. Now, I received this a while ago, and it came a little bit dented, but I'm pretty sure he's fine inside. But he's now a little wobbly, but we're gonna get rid of the box anyway, so time to dive in. That sounded a little bit horror movie-ish. Time to dive in. Oh, okay, well, it's not that kind of channel. My name's not Jason. I wasn't born on Friday the 13th. You know who you are. But let's pop this out and see what's inside. This part, air. Ooh, I do want to show the box real quick. It is a very cool looking box, despite the dents. And you can see him on the back with his robot mode, his jet mode, and his extended jet mode. That is one thing I have to say, didn't thrill a lot of collectors and kind of didn't thrill me all that much, but we'll see what the final product looks like. So I'm gonna take out some pieces and zoom in. There's gonna be some snipping to do. So there's this piece, which looks like part of a weapon. There's this piece, which looks like it's just the tip. Just the tip. Why aren't we using phrasing anymore? We have the jet part of Silverbolt, which has some plastics on it, which we are gonna remove using the snipper. Makes it a little easier. So he's missing a tip. We'll see what's going on with that. And we have this piece of stuff in here that it looks like we're gonna have to cut out to take out, and it looks like it's a big thingamajig. Who's-a-what's it? What else be in here? Oh, well, on the back, as I put plastic crap all over my table, we find instructions and a shitty piece of paper. And we find Sky. Of course, Sky would want to check out the Aerialbots. Hi. Now, someone has called her a calico. She is actually not a calico, though I understand the confusion. She is a tortie, kind of like calicos, but she's definitely wants to make everyone think she's affection starved, and she can only get affection from me while I am doing toy reviews. That is a lie. It's a lie. But what can you do? They're cats. They lie. All right, let's take a look at the instruction book here to see what we do about the tip. Just the tip. And as I suspected, you do something about the tip. You open up the front and you flip it out. Now flip it off, flip it out. It is going to be easier with my little spudger here. Now he looks like he's, ready for action with his tip. I'm trying to look at the instructions and you keep getting in the way. And so it would appear that you take this piece and you attach it here. This piece attaches under here. You flip out the wings on this, very small wings. Flip out these red things, and with these wings up, you attach it, and then you put the wings down. Ooh, I forgot to unfold these parts of the wings. Whoopsie. And it becomes a weird-looking shield helicarrier. Yes, I am not sure how aerodynamic this would actually be. I mean, I imagine if you put enough thrust behind it, not the Decepticon thrust, just thrust, that it could fly. But this thing measures a massive 14 and about 1/4 inches long. Wow, almost as big as my Grimlock. What did you think I was gonna say? So I have to say, yeah, it's a form. I probably would not be inclined to keep him in this form. Honestly, it's gonna end up being in the form of Superion and sitting on a shelf until I bring it out for the Wrath of the Decepticons version of Superion, which will come out in about 7 years. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Oh, I forgot to flatten his tail rudder there. But yeah, and I kind of have to hold these down. They don't seem to like to go into place all that well. So I think if you press them into the arm, it does better. So there you have it. Silverbolt. Review's done. No, we got a ways to go. So to make him into like a regular jet, we basically have to detach this. And it says to remove this gun in the front. I kind of like it there, even if he's gonna be a regular jet. But we'll bring these up. We'll pop this off. I guess bring these back down, fold this up. And now it's a regular jet that measures almost about 9 3/8 inches long. Almost as big as my Optimus over there. And this apparently is an independent drone thing. You don't even fold those in apparently. But wait, there is more because he has some kind of landing gear, it looks like. So interestingly, the front landing gear comes out of the back of Superion's head, and these two landing gear, really, tail right in the face. These two landing gear fold down, and there you go. You have a jet that can land, because landing's important. So it's a cool jet mode. It would probably look better with some stickers, but let's get him into robot mode, because we got a lot of stuff to do here. Though, of course, it'd be nice if I could look at the instructions. Just move a little, lay here. See, you all thought that Sky was just so well-behaved, but not when it comes to instructions, apparently. And there he is, Silverbolt in all his robotic glory. Looks very similar to the one on the show. His gun is not super oversized, so that's kind of good. Now, let's take a look at some posability, but I do want to say, yeah, good job. Overall, he is really nicely put together so far, but let's see how he poses. So first off, you've got him with this nice and generous ankle swivels, which can actually go like way out. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he can do it. I mean, his legs can go that way because of his back gibble, and his heels kind of can't really stay that way unless you put the gun down and use that to hold them up like a kickstand. But there he is, full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Let's check out some of the other posability, like kicking forward. So these hip covers, which are also his landing gear, move forward so he can kick pretty well forward. Kicking back, you run into the tail. So never think running into tail is a bad thing, but it is in this case. Side kick. In fact, he can do quite the side kick. Pretty much a full split, maybe even slightly more. He bends at the knee, which is good. About 90 degrees, and swivels all the way around. So good job thus far. Can he twist at the waist? Well, let's see if he can. It's going to be here. And he can twist partially at the waist. He can't go all the way around because of his back gibble and wings, even moving his wings back. But at least he can twist somewhat. So that's not a horrible thing. The arms, if you move the wings back, you can put the arms all the way around. They can go out to the side, bend at the elbow. He swivels. Now I can tell you right now, I don't even need to test, but these fists, they don't twist. But very nice arm articulation. And the head, of course, as part of the transformation, turns all the way around. He can look up a little bit. He can look down a little bit. He can kind of tilt his head to one side or the other. So a good amount of articulation there. So there you have him, Silverbolt. But wait, there's more. Because, we paid a pretty penny for this guy. And they wanted to give you more, even if you didn't have all the other guys. So just very quickly, you can take his gun, by the way, and you can store it on his back. So the gun has these two little slidey posts, and they kind of clip onto his back part here, it looks like. Or am I totally misreading this? Ah, I see. On the bottom, he's got a slot that fits into this slot. I was totally misreading that. And he can have gun storage on his back. Yeah, it's kind of off to one side, so not symmetrical, but my OCD's okay. But there is more, because this thing does other stuff. So you first take this off, and then apparently you open up this piece and move up this piece, which oddly you're supposed to remove, but it shows putting it on. Weird. On this side, you push these back down, you push this back down, push this back down, you turn these, and you can then take this and plug it on here like so. This thing can straighten that part out, flip this down, and that attaches right there. And after all that, Silverbolt can stand behind it and shoot people. Let me zoom it out a little bit so you can see the full. Yeah, I understand they wanted to do something extra with this, but it doesn't really seem to me to be that much of a cool thing. Well, what can you do? And it seems to me that if it's going to be a shield, why is there a hole in it that would allow someone to shoot right into his crotch? I mean, or at least in the leg. Unless something is supposed to fold up to cover that. But no, I don't see anything. So yeah, while I appreciate the figure, and I appreciate the fact that this is going to become the rest of Superion, not really appreciating this as like a mobile battle station. And it kind of falls apart pretty easy. So we're going to put that aside right over here, and we'll put Silverbolt over there for now. Apparently, the rest of the instructions are putting him into Superion mode. But we'll come back to that. All right, now we can get into these guys. Now, I'm going to go in order. That's 5 of 5, 4 of 5, 1 of 5. Why are you in the middle? Fine, we'll go in order with the number 1 of 5. This is a deluxe size air raid from 8 of the Primes, because it says 8 of the Primes right there. And nice box, shows him in both modes on the back. He does not seem to have some lame ass attachment for his flight mode. I mean, I know why they have the attachment, and he's gonna probably look really good as Superion. But really, guys? All right, there he is on his cardboard prison. Instruction, should he feature paper? We get rid of that. We will clip him from his cardboard prison. And I'm looking at the feet, and I'm figuring out that I need to fix the feet. So I'm gonna do that before I try to stand him up and have him fall over. And let's zoom in a little bit on this very bright guy. So there he is. Now he has appropriately Autobot paper. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about Autobot paper on an Autobot, but you know, Decepticon paper on Decepticons would be nice. Try to get fancy and up it, and never mind, we'll just tear it apart. And in here there is stuff. So it looks like he's got 2 guns, which is cool, and 2 tail fins. And they'll probably figure out where to put the tail fins, you know, the tail, but let's just see how they want me to do it. So the tail fins, interestingly, plug into the back of his legs, but not in the direction you'd expect. So they probably turn, because, you know, things do that. And then he has his 2 guns. So he's like, say hello to my little friends. Now, before we go too crazy with this, and I'm guessing, I'm not seeing a way for him to store these guns in his mode unless you fold back the wings and just plug them onto the wing. Undocumented feature. But I do want to put Silverbolt, just to do a size comparison between the leader and one of his guys. So Silverbolt's a little taller. In fact, I don't think that I measured Silverbolt in his robot mode. He's about 7-ish inches. Whereas from head to foot, not counting the nose cone, welcome back, Sky, air raid here is 5 inches. If you count the nose cone, he gets up to 6. So not as much of a difference in size as with the original G1 Aerialbots. I mean, huge difference. Huge. I don't know why I'm talking like Arnold. So you can go back over there, my friend, and let's take a look at this guy and zoom in a little bit closer. And he looks like air raid. He's got a nice Autobot symbol. He's got some deco. Again, he looks like he's an animation brought to life because they didn't have super details. And again, I'm sure you could do something, I don't know, maybe with stickers. Yeah, I gotta say that from time to time, or, you know, little red dot appears here, then they're not like that. Okay, Torty, what do you think? Do you like this guy? You gonna steal his stuff? So let's get into some posability. First of all, he does have ankle swivels. Quite generous ones, so he can really get down and boogie. And while he's getting down and boogieing, let's see. Now, the fins on the back of his leg make this, you know, difficult to balance, but he does have the capability of doing a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. He can kick forward. His front knee is actually slightly double jointed, so he can actually kick higher than you think. Backwards, pretty nice, pretty high. Side kick, and again, a double side kick, even more than 180 degrees. Bends at the knee very nicely, twists all the way around. His waist, he also twists all the way around. So he's got one up on Silverbolt there. Now his arms can, well, if it weren't for the wings in the way, they could go all the way around, but they do go off to the side. He bends at the elbow. He's got a nice swivel here. So good posability in the arms. And the head spins around just like the Exorcist. And he can look up a bit and look down, and not so much wiggling from side to side. That's something his leader can do, but he cannot. So overall, nice. So, time for jet mode. So there he is in his... I know the black against my black coat. I'm going to have to raise up my hand for you to see him clearly. But there he is in his airplane mode. Looks very cool. Autobot symbols on the wings. Old dim. Not calling him dim, but symbols dim. And yes, as I suspected, the tail fin spun. So yeah, a nice jet. He's even got landing gear, though it's not close to the nose. It's, like standing gear. So he can stand in this mode. Very nice. And length. He is, with the tail fins, about 6 1/8 inches long. Very nice. We're going to put him over here. I'm going to try to get through these other ones pretty quickly. I imagine that they're all going to be similar, so we'll try to move quickly. I mean, not Combiner Wars similar, but similar. All right, instructions. Copy piece of paper, snipper, back of the box if you really want to see. There you go. Though his legs are a little different. So, and his Autobot paper has 2 guns and a Rolls-Royce grill. No, he doesn't have that. That would be cool, though. So there he is with his 2 guns. So let's take a look at him. Definitely has the whole slingshot look. Looks like he might be from Brooklyn. Always wondered why, and I've even asked Rob Paulson why Slingshot had a Brooklyn accent, but he didn't really have an answer for me. It's not like he adopted it after he got to Earth. He had it on Cybertron. But he looks good from every angle. The folded wings in the back. You can see there's Autobot symbols on them. We'll see that more when he gets into that mode. But Slingshot looks, again, like he stepped off the cartoon screen. Though I have to say his face is so orange. It's like, is he using bronzer? I don't even know. The eyes are a slightly different shade. But let's check this out. Yes, ankle swivels. Very generous ones. I suspect full Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm going to go through the posability on the other guys pretty quick because I have a feeling they're all pretty much the same. Kick back and forth. Bends at the knee, though the back of this does kind of interfere. It's not quite 90 degrees. Swivels, twisting at the waist, absolutely. Arms go all the way around. Just watch out you don't catch on the nose cone. Not the Technobot nose cone, his nose. Anyway, the jokes get worse, folks. Bends at the elbow. Arms go out to the side. He can actually shrug a bit. So his transformation is going to be a little bit different. Swiveling, and the head, of course, all the way around. Can go forward and back. Not really side to side, but forward and back a little bit. Nice. So again, a good representation. And height-wise, I have a feeling he's about 5 inches. I think they're all like 5 inches. It's respectable. You'll get there someday, Logan. All right. So there he is. One more spin on the turntable of doom. And let's put him into his vehicle mode. And there he is, Slingshot in his jet mode, measuring at about 6 inches. See, he's a grower. Anyway, yeah, very nice. And he's got a little nub here for like landing gear purposes, standing gear purposes. But there he is from all angles. A very nice version of Slingshot. Number 4, Fireflight. And again, back of the box, you can see him in his forms. I do appreciate the way that there are some differences thus far with the first 2 basics and how they transform. They're not exactly the same like the Combiner Wars. And there were minor variations of Combiner Wars, especially when it came to Alpha Bravo. But there he is, though I have a feeling he might be pretty close to Slingshot in his transformation, just looking at his feet. I may have spoken too soon. Get rid of plastic crap, not plastic crack. That's something different. This aside, crappy piece of paper, otherwise known as a shitty piece of paper, and his thing here has, what a shock, 2 guns. But I kind of like the way they have 2 guns because that way they can have 2 guns on their vehicle mode so it doesn't look lopsided. Maybe they listen to me. Hey, what do you know? Looking at the back of Silverbolt, I guess they didn't. So there he is, giving a spin on the turntable of doom. Very, very Fireflight-ish. Again, looks a lot like the cartoon. I have to say, aside from Slingshot's face being way too orange, they could have made some more contrast between his eyes and the rest of his face, but I am digging the faces. Yep, and just looking at his instructions, transforms like Slingshot. But again, very generous ankle swivels, full Jean-Claude Van Damme, kick forward, kick back, side kick, really big side kick. I mean, that hurts us looking at it. Bending at the knee, similar to Slingshot, not quite 90 degrees. Swivels, twists at the waist, arms all the way around, off to the side. He can also shrug, bend at the elbow, swivel, head, turns all the way around, and slight nod and looking up. But a nice, again, version of the character. I mean, when you look at the originals, They all pretty much transformed the same way and all had this, little jet on their back. So a lot of the jets actually look like mini jets. On these, the back does not look quite like the cartoon because they have the tail fins usually down here. But still, I don't even need to look at the instructions for this. I'm just gonna get her done. So there is Fireflight in his jet mode. And again, transformation very similar to that of Slingshot. However, I will say, I do like the fact that things plug in very tight. Can't really tell it's not a real jet from below, unless you're familiar with what real jets look like from below. It's got the same little nubby thing, and yeah, a good representation of Fireflight. Nice. Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this guy is gonna transform a lot like our buddy Air Raid. Though I have a feeling there's gonna be some slight differences because of the tail fin design. But let's pop out Skydive. Let's put it the piece of paper. Don't need the box. On plastic prison. Woo! I hope you guys don't feel that I'm rushing through these guys, but there are 5 of them. And when you look at the molds and such, they're really very similar. So we don't really need to go into that much detail on each one as far as the posability. And I know you all want to see Superion, so we're getting there. Kai, you're back to try to steal more Autobot weaponry, just as I'm taking it out. 2 guns, of course, and 1 tail fin, which goes in the center here. I'm assuming pointing down, but we'll look at the instructions. I could be wrong. It wants me to put it facing the other way. I guess it does cause some slight destabilization of his pulp jet. That sounded very official. All right, let's get rid of the crap. All right, spin on the turntable of doom. He looks great. Again, nothing a few stickers won't make even better. Haven't said it in a while, so, But yeah, looks very, very cool. I'm liking his orange face. See, you can see his eyes a little bit better. Yeah. Don't ask me why I made that noise. I just did. So, none of their hands twist, by the way. But, again, very quickly, super generous ankle swivels, full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Can kick forward, has that same kind of little slight extra jointedness as Air Raid. Kicks back, side kick split, bends. I'm gonna put this aside, don't touch it. Bends at the knee, 90 degrees. In this case, swivels, twists at the waist. Let's see. Yep, all the way around. If you flip the wings back, still can't get them to go all the way around, but they could go all the way around if it weren't for the wings there. Arms go out to the side, bends at the elbow, swivels, no twisting of the fists. Head turns all the way around, forward a little bit, back quite a bit. Maybe there are some differences with this one, more than I thought. And you can bring his wings all the way back and pop them onto the side of his nose cone. So if you prefer him in this mode, without the wings on the side, that's good too. They lock in. They may also be part of, the merge mode. But okay, let's transform. Nope, pretty much the same as Air Raid. And he's got the little standing gear on the bottom there. Give him a nice spin on the turntable of doom. And yeah, 6 inches. Pretty standard for these guys. So there you have them, the Aerialbots. All 5 Aerialbots. Are we done? Wait, I feel like I'm overlooking something. Superion. Let's merge. And Honor is here to help. Woohoo! So there he is, Superion. And I have to say, he looks great. But transformational-wise, first of all, popping apart the arm guys made me a little nervous. And he's basically a framework without the other Aerialbots. He still could look like Superion, just scrawny. But that being said, let's see, we've actually got ankle swivels on this guy. We have got the ability, I'm pretty sure, to do a full toes up Jean-Claude Van Damme. The only other combiner I know of that can do that is a Legacy Menasor, and, well, he's, again, similar. Now, he's got little hip covers here, so he can kick forward, he can kick back, kick to the side. So the leg is weighty. He can bend at the knee, pretty good. And he even has a swivel. So, I mean, I have to say, very much he has got all the posability. Except, he can actually spin all the way around at the waist. So he's even better than Silverbolt. Arms all the way around. Also out to the side. So that's very nice. Bends at the elbow, swivels. The fists twist as well. I'm gonna take this gun off. But yes, the fists also twist, though you can twist them right off because it's one of those joints. It's one of those joints, you know what I mean? The fingers, though, they look like they should be articulated. They are not. The head, of course, all the way around. One thing to be careful of, these things can pop off pretty darn easily. So, in his combined mode, he stands on his feet. He stands a little over 12 inches, like 12¼ inches tall. Now, I do want to show some scaling here. So here he is next to the G1 Superion. But wait, there's more. Because here he is next to the Combiner Wars Superion. And they are pretty much very similar in size. So, and as you might have noticed, I actually have Slingshot over here because got him a Botcon. So scaling wise, he's about the same. I mean, Combiner Wars has longer antennae, which basically equal him out. Without that, he'd be slightly shorter. But yeah, I mean, do I like Superion? Absolutely. Am I glad I have Superion? Absolutely. Am I disappointed with the whole framework thing? I mean, I have to admit, Combiner Wars was better in the fact that you could actually, merge them together without having a framework. The legs actually mean something, but he is a handsome bot. And I recommend him. Looks really good. I left the weapons on their wings, otherwise I would get confused and not be sure which weapons go with who, because they are a little bit different. But there you have him, Superion, the combined form of the Aerialbots, who were solely designed to fight Menasor and needed Omega Supreme's help, but we're not going to talk about that. So there you have it, all 5, and I'll put links to all 5 of these figures in the description so you can check it out. And again, thanks to Toy Hack so much. And if you want to glow up your Silverbolt and your other Aerialbots, go check them out at toyhacks.com, and it won't cost you $1 million. It's actually quite reasonably priced, and don't ask me why I was talking like Dr. Evil. And if you don't know who Dr. Evil is, anyways, there he is, very cool figure. I think he's a lot of fun. And if you're having fun watching these videos, by all means, feel free to subscribe. That would be totally awesome. And while you are mulling over this Superion, you can actually take a look at my full review of the Legacy Menasor right over here. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.